remember what the months are. Hold on. Okay. To the moon never beams without bringing me dreams. Not to the moon. That's definitely okay. I'm not gonna lie. The Black Cat is one of my favorite stories ever. Oh, your girl got spit on. I'm not gonna lie. The Black...
Everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay, and you are watching Shay with the Hobbies. It's announcement time. Y'all know it's time for me to come with another announcement. So for the last quarter, meaning January, February, March, and sliding a little bit into April, I have been participating in the Inheritance Trilogy Read-Along, co-hosted by the lovely, amazing Chloe of Thistle and Verse. We are midway through book 3 of the Inheritance Trilogy, The Kingdom of Gods. Your girl is loving it. But as that is wrapping up, it is time for me to begin my next collab for the next quarter. For the second quarter of the year, I will be collaborating with the amazing Nicole from Who Picked This Book. You guys, first of all, if you don't know who Nicole is, where have you been? You're probably living under a rock, because you definitely haven't been watching my channel, because 1, she's always here, and 2, I'm always like, I love Nicole. So, here's the thing. I'm gonna give y'all a little behind the scenes tea of how this all came together so that we can talk about the things we're gonna talk about over this next quarter. So, both Nicole and I are writers, and we both love mysteries. So we both were talking about how we wanted to kind of get into Agatha Christie. And so we're like, okay, we're gonna give Agatha Christie a chance, right? Wrong. No. Tomato. It's not happening. We're not doing it, because it came to our attention that Miss Agatha, honey, I mean, you know, we don't like to use the racist word. You know, people don't like to give people that titles. But I feel like if you title your book 10 Little N-Words, there's really nowhere we can go from there. So, because, you know, we have self-respect and we know that Black Lives Matter every day and all day, we decided to kind of like just tomato that idea. And so instead, we are going with Edgar Allan Poe. Now, before we go deeper into that, let me just say the truth of the matter is that anything written when Black people were not considered citizens is gonna have racist overtones. And that's just something that America needs to just come to terms with. And so while I adore the writing of Edgar Allan Poe, your girl don't know really too much about this man as a person in real life. So here's the thing. While your girl did do like, okay, let me just dig and make sure that this man ain't just outright racist. Girl did come across some very nice scholarly articles that I will link in the description box below about how racism can still be seen in his work, even in him not really having Black characters. So just gonna say, we're not going to skip over any allegations of racism with anyone that we're reading. I just honestly can't get past 10 Little N-Words and wasn't even gonna try. It just was not gonna happen for me. So for April, May, and June, we are going to be reading poems and short stories by the Edgar Allan Poe. Now, the truth of the matter is when I was in high school, my guidance counselor had also previously been an English teacher, and he knew about my love of writing, and so he introduced me to a lot of classical short story writers. Some with I will not hesitate to say that I love their work, because that is true. I can love their work and still acknowledge racism. So let's be true. Let's be clear about that. And so Edgar Allan Poe is one that is near and dear to my heart. I say that because y'all, I'm about to just pull out the proof. Okay, so here's the thing. Your girl has more Edgar Allan Poe like collections than any other authors. So the funny thing is that me and Nicole both have this book. They look completely different. Well, y'all, down to the page numbers and everything exactly the same. So this is a tome, right? And so, you know, the truth is, for the first month of the year, or the first quarter of the year, I read this tome. You know, for the second quarter, I'm reading this one. And your girl, low-key, if you've seen the other video this month, is reading The Count of Monte Cristo, which also is a thick bitch. She thick. They all thick. You know, here's the thing. I like thick books. Okay? I like them like I like myself. Thick thighs and all. Okay. But your girl, it has this, right? She also has the Poe, Stories and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe, but illustrated by Greg Hildebrandt. Y'all, is it falling apart? Your girl didn't care. It's like the artwork for me. I'm not gonna lie. The Black Cat is one of my favorite stories ever of all time. Like, so, you know, your girl... Now, here's the truth. I can think these are really pretty pictures, but the truth is, you know, ain't no black people in here. But I still think the artwork is amazing. The Mask of the Red Death was the very first Edgar Allan Poe short story I ever read. Your girl, it's gonna be a thing. Do I have an Edgar Allan Poe keepsake journal? Yes. Have I used it? No. Did I think it was beautiful and have to have it? Certainly. It's got like a little quote cards too, so there is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. Cause the truth is, I ain't nothing like a black woman with a big forehead. You know, we everything, okay? This one says, deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. You know, it's the quotes for me. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams. Y'all, okay, here's the thing. Does it look a little creepy? Yes. Looks a little creepy. Looks a little creepy. And quiet as it's kept, I feel like he married like a cousin or something. When I'm doing this video, I definitely like put what really happened like in the like bottom of the thing, but I'm pretty sure he married like a 14-year-old cousin or some shit. We're not gonna talk about the things that white people used to and still sometimes do. Think that like, y'all. I became insane with long intervals of horrible sanity. You know, the truth is, what writer doesn't feel that way at times, right? So all that to say, your girl loves her some Edgar Allan Poe. And so I'm going to actually put this to use for this collaboration. Okay, so for the details of this Edgar Allan Poe read-along, what we will be doing is we will be reading different things every week. And what we will be doing is every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central, we'll be alternating between Nicole and I's channels, and we'll be discussing what we read. Since April is National Poetry Month, it's only right that that's the month that we read Edgar Allan's poems. So we're going by the book that we have. So I'm going to tell you the like story that we're starting with for that week, but I will also put the list of the stories on the screen, and then a more detailed breakdown of which stories will be read each week in the description box below. So you'll know like, hey, if I don't have this type of thing, because the thing is we both bought these at different times, and I think they were published like maybe 6 years apart, but they're still the exact same like inside. It's just the cover that's different. So that if you don't have one like this, you can still follow along with the right stories that we're reading. So For week 1, we are starting with O Tempora, O Morris. For week 2 of April, we are starting with the poem Romance. For week 3 of April, we are starting with The City in the Sea. And for the last week of April, we are starting with The Raven. Now, The Raven is one of his most famous poems, so it makes sense that that's towards the end of the month. And we are reading 16 poems each week. So for the record, for like the first week, that's like page 3 to page 37. Right, so it's not a lot that you're necessarily reading, but we want to give, because poetry is so much different from everything else, we want to make sure that everyone is getting enough time to like sit with them and things like that. Then for May and June, we will be switching to his short stories, and we will be reading 9 short stories over the 9-week course. Within the middle, we're going to talk about racism and classics. So we're starting with, and the way I'm definitely about to butcher this. For May, we are starting with Metzengerstein for the first short story. For the second week in May, we are doing Lionizing. For the third week in May, we will have the discussion of racism and classics, where we'll talk more about the Agatha Christie. We'll talk about one of the stories that is specifically mentioned in the scholarly articles that we would have read by the time that we're having this discussion, just to open it for more dialogue around that topic. Week 4 of May, but week 3 of us reading actual short stories, we will start with The Devil in the Belfry, and then week 4 we will have The Oval Portrait, and I believe that May has 5 Tuesdays for us, and so this 5th week in May, we'll start with Byron and Miss Chaworth. What I'm believing is the 1st or 2nd week of June, we're starting with The Balloon Hoax. And the very last week, we'll be starting with the short story, The Cask of Amontillado. Again, all the information in detail will be in the description box, so don't worry about like having to catch it on the screen. You can just read it down below. So you guys, that is it for this announcement. Again, am super duper excited for this. Cannot wait to do this with Nicole. So definitely check the description box for a playlist. Definitely check Nicole's announcement video out as well. And we are excited to get into this for the 2nd quarter of the year. I will see you guys for this read along in April. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.